Hi, in this gardener tutorial we'll learn how to grow, harvest, clean, and store fresh turmeric for kitchen and medicinal use. First, let's harvest. Okay, so I know this is a medicine a lot of people really like to use. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the ground. Maybe you can guess what it is. Aha, it's a big one. So this was planted from one little piece of turmeric about six months ago. And you guys can see just how much it is. And when I get all of the dirt cleaned off of it, I'll show it again. But this is a really easy thing to grow in a container at home. And I'll show you how to do that in the next clip. Okay, so this is the very same turmeric that I took out of the ground about a week ago. And all I did was let it dry out a little bit, or dry off a little bit. It's very hard to clean it when the soil is all moist. So I don't wash things like this when you take them out of the ground. Roots and root vegetables, ginger. What happens is once it gets wet, it just, starts to rot, basically. So it's better to let all the soil dry and then just use a brush, right? And brush it off as much soil as you like. And then you can keep it like this, right? This is fine. You can keep this in a basket in your house once you get some of the loose soil brushed off, and just keep it like this. And then whenever you're about to use a little piece, right, just take it and wash only what you're going to use right away. Because once roots get wet, like I said, they'll do one of two things. They'll either rot or, well, they can even start to sprout. But usually they're just going to get soft and mushy, and we don't want that. So just brush them off. Let's see how beautiful this is. Oh, golden, golden, golden medicine of the gods, yeah? Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to plant it. Okay, and here's a piece that's ready to plant. You can tell because it's got this little sprout coming out of it. Now, if you want roots to sprout more quickly and you don't get them wet, okay, like I said, that's just going to usually start the process of rot, put them right on some soil. And when you put your root on some soil, it's like a little trick. It's a signal that it's time to grow, that it's time to sprout. Things sprout very, very quickly in our climate. Remember, it's right down here, it's always about 75 degrees. So it might take a little bit longer depending on, if it's the fall or the spring or the winter. If it's the summer, it'll probably sprout pretty quickly. So once you've got some sprouts, all you need to do is, believe it or not, to grow turmeric at home, okay, fresh, potent, wonderful, awesome turmeric at home, is take this and plant it. Use a big container, because what happens is once it sprouts, it's going to, the roots are going to really multiply underground, and it's going to send up a very pretty plant. It's going to send up a plant that looks like actually a very small palm tree. So I have a big container here. Let me see how big this container is. That's a big container, right? It doesn't need to be this big, but I already have some parsley growing in here, so I'm going to give myself, a little margin for room. So make sure your soil's nice and rich. You got some compost in there. And then just take this guy and plant him with the sprout sticking up. Cover it. You can leave the sprout out, which is great because that's the direction that it's already headed. And then just give it a nice hefty pour of water, not directly on it, but the soil around it, to get it acclimated and get it started. And keep an eye on it. In a couple of weeks, that sprout will start to turn into, like I said, a nice little small palm tree. Okay, and then sometimes you even get a beautiful flower on that palm tree, a very delicate white flower. And then once the flower and the leaves of your miniature palm tree start to yellow and die back, it's probably ready to harvest your turmeric. So then what you would do is just dig around the base and see if there's a big clump in there, and then unearth it, just like I showed in the very first video. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much for continuing to support our sustainability, regeneration, and reforestation work. You are helping us to transform lands degraded by logging from this to this. A lush forest garden full of fruit, flora, and fauna. Come see it for yourself in the cloud forest in Ecuador at Sueño de Vida.